and get ready to zoom back in for our fourth game. One that we actually got right in terms of the pick for the winner. This was a top 25 matchup, barely, as Notre Dame was ranked 24th here at your Sports Outpost. Texas A&M number 12. A&M wins almost in the final play, 41-40, but they did win on a 4th and goal pass attempt. Marcel Reed wins the Aggies for their first time ever in South Bend. They get their first win over Notre Dame since the late 80s, which is kind of insane. Actually, no, it would be the first win since 2001 when they had the home and home series. They won, I think, back also in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, Marcel Reed, this was his game where I think he just came out and shined. We talked about it in the offseason about us seeing it and believing it. If it happened, that Marcel Reed was going to be developing and taking that next step as a passer. And then on top of that, not only did he get Texas A&M a win here on the road against a ranked team for the first time since 2014, he also got his first ever win as a starter there for the Aggies. But he lit it up. 360 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He also got some yards on the ground, 7 carries for 37 yards. On top of that, he technically went out with an injury for a play and then came immediately back in, sucked it up, carried his team to victory. That's what a real quarterback, that's what you really want to see out of your quarterback. That's just an amazing performance. And coming also off of an injury that he picked up last week and being available and overcoming that was just very impressive stuff. And then on top of that, you have Mario Craver, who carved up Notre Dame's secondary. He had 7 receptions, 207 yards. I think he already surpassed his numbers from 2024 when he was with Mississippi State. He played 8 games with the Bulldogs, and I think he again is over that 386 yards already in receiving, which is absolutely insane. Just for him to do that in the first 3 as an Aggie. Casey Concepcion also came up big. He had 4 receptions for 82 yards. We talked about them helping relieve Marcel Reed and getting open. Mario Craver just wanted the ball, and he just truly shined, especially in that 86-yard touchdown where he just could not be tackled. Just an extraordinary performance from him. He basically was the player of the week in my eyes. On top of that, Le'Veon Moss, who had an amazing game in the red zone for Texas A&M. He had 3 touchdowns, 81 yards with 20 carries. 3 of those touchdowns, I think, were the first 3 in the game for Texas A&M. I think a big thing also in this is that this game shouldn't have been as close, but it came down to kind of special teams to kind of being the determiner, and it not going to the mishap in the place kick for the extra point. It was more or less the missed block to open up the game, really. If Texas A&M had themselves organized going out there for that punt, this would have been more than a 1-point win for the Aggies on the road. Notre Dame kind of got a little bit of the luck of the Irish there in special teams. Our big thing going into this was talking about their Notre Dame's offensive coordinator and his game plan failing, and it kind of didn't. It was more or less the defensive coordinator who allowed 41 points there on the board. I think it's Chris Ash, who's the DC, if I'm not mistaken, for Notre Dame. He is not having a good Sunday for sure. Cassius Howell, we talked about him possibly making a difference here in South Bend, which I was kind of surprised. They had 2 sacks. He didn't get one, but he did, I believe, get a tackle for loss. DJ Hicks also came big in some certain situations for some short yardage that was needed to move the chains. Tyler Odium, they transfer in from Iowa State. Albert Regis Another defensive tackle there. Those guys just had a great night in clogging the holes, sacrificing their bodies, setting up their linebackers for success. Again, by taking up bodies. And overall, yeah, it was a great night. Hopefully, there was an unfortunate injury in this game as well, and hopefully Bryce Anderson, who had to get carted off, is okay. I didn't see any news or any updates from him. You know, obviously thoughts and prayers. You don't like to see a player have to be carted off like that, but he did give everyone a thumbs up when that happened, and hopefully he's okay and comes back and continues to be able to play the game of football. Notre Dame, though, I think they played all right on offense. It looked like, again, Denbrock finally figured out what his team does best, and that's run the freaking ball. Jeremiah Ludd had 94 yards, 23 carries, a touchdown in there. Jadarian Price had some explosive plays. He had 12 carries for 68 yards. And then he had some big special team pickups there as well. As he's just an amazing football player there. TJ Carr, 293 yards, 1 touchdown, an interception. Both the guys threw interceptions, actually. And it was a night and day difference of the encounter again in 2024. That game ended up being 23-13. This one's 41-40. Just, again, a flip. Total 180 on the approach and what things kind of made the difference up on why the A&M ended up winning the game. I don't think it was up to that, again, mishap for the extra point. I think because it was so later on that, like, oh, that was the immediate thing to look at. But again, if Texas A&M just fixes that block, Notre Dame doesn't get the free 6 points there, and it would have been technically 41-36 if we're doing the math right there. Oh no, it would have been 30. I can't do math right now. 33, 41-33 would have been a full possession. We technically would have been covering on our points difference because we predicted A&M to win by 5. But they still win. It doesn't matter. We kind of got it right. And back-to-back years, we technically went with the Aggies. Last year, they disappointed us. This year, they come through. And the Mike Elko era kind of starts from maybe this point, and him pushing the Aggies not only into the playoff, but a possible opportunity to play for an SEC championship for the very first time. I think there's a lot of potential there. The defense, I think, has depth. We just talked about the defensive line on the names that we just riddled off. If they can stay healthy throughout the season, which is crazy because we were talking about in that in the watch along yesterday on the other channel, ODM was coming in on rushing situations. They have so much depth and so much utility there that teams later down the line, if they have a full healthy lineup in that front 6, they're going to be causing a lot of trouble. And then on top of that, they're going to give up a lot of yards because we saw that last year against LSU. It was like 400 plus yards through the air for Garrett Nussmeier, and they still won that game. Like, they're going to be giving up a ton of yards through the air, but when it really matters, when they need to stall out drives, that's when the secondary comes clutch. I understand they gave up 40 points, but what? That was 6 points through field goals, and again, the unfortunate mishap there in the punt. So a total of 13 points was really not technically given up by the defense, which I think was still a solid performance from Texas A&M, who again gets the win, 41-40. What an amazing play there. What an amazing play. Like, I got goosebumps because I've had this same kind of scenario happen when I was playing back in the day, and I obviously didn't play at the collegiate level, but having to score on a 4th down play, and it seems like you're not going to be able to punch it in, but the least expected player also gets the touchdown. This is the backup tight end, backup tight end, actually. It's more of a blocking guy, and he's the one, Nate Boer-Kircher, who gets the game winner there for the Aggies, and they win in South Bend for the first time, 41-40. As we zoom out,